Hello, UNIV instructors. Welcome to our short video outlining the content for Day 16 in UNIV. This day is all about the MBTI, exploring personality preferences. For this day, you and your students will likely spend most of your class period on your feet, collaborating, moving. This is consistently a favorite lesson for students and instructors alike, so I hope you enjoy it as well. We're going to jump right into activity with this day. As you probably know, the MBTI is an online inventory that students will complete. It's more like a survey, definitely not a test, because it doesn't measure how well we do anything. It merely tells us what our innate preference is for 4 different areas, and we call these areas dichotomies as a whole. For the first activity, we'll be splitting students into extroverts or introverts. Have your extroverts on the left side of the room and your introverts on the right. The first activity that they'll be doing as a whole is in groups. Students will be planning their perfect get-together. So all of your extroverts are going to plan to get together themselves. All of your introverts are going to plan to get together. Some rules that I have developed over time, pointers and cautions. Make sure your students know that they should be thinking about a PG-13 level get-together. That's why we've begun using the word get-together, not party. If they're having trouble covering their bases, you can ask them these questions. Are they thinking about when the get-together will start, when it will stop? Can people who are invited bring a guest? What will they actually be doing at the get-together? Have all of your extroverts nominate a reporter. The reporter can then share out to the other group about their get-together plans. Next, your introverts can share out their plans for the get-together. So some things that I'm looking for in this exercise. The extroversion introversion attitude. I mentioned the MBTI has 4 letters. The outside letters, the 2 outside letters are called the attitudes, while the 2 inside letters are functions. Anyway, the extroversion introversion attitude is all about how a person manages their energy. Important concepts that an extrovert doesn't necessarily mean chatty or social butterfly. It simply means that they gain energy by being around others. Likewise, your introverts does not mean that they are shy, doesn't mean that they're necessarily a loner, just that they have to expend energy to be around others, and then they need some alone time to gain energy. So once we've completed that, we're going to split our students up again, this time with the second letter for the personality type. You're going to want all of your sensing students on one side of the room and all of your intuition students on the right side of the room. One thing you will know with the MBTI is that it's an S or an N, even though the words are sensing and intuition. We use the N for intuition because we've already used the I for introvert. This just keeps things a little cleaner. So your activity here is you're asking your students in groups to start listing everything that they can about this picture. No more than 5 minutes to complete this. Try not to provide any additional guidance on the activity. You want to see what they come up with left to their own devices. So sharing out. Sensing people will share out about the picture. Intuitive people will share out what they noticed about the picture. So on the sensing side, circle any words that indicate details like colors, the time on the clock, the number and breeds of dogs, the paintings on the wall, what one dog has in his hand. On the intuitive side, you're looking for things that are an extrapolation from the scene. Things like, has anyone assumed a dog's particular attitude or what he's thinking? Have they assumed what game they've been playing or how long they've been playing it? Is it after 1 in the morning or is it in the afternoon? For the debrief, we'll be reinforcing these concepts with your students, that sensing people see the details. They're most interested in what they can gather through their own five senses. They want to talk about what is reality. On the flip, your intuition people, they see the big picture. They're most interested in the possibilities and the meanings. They want to talk about what could be, as opposed to a sensing person who wants to talk about what is. Third activity for this, now your students are looking for that third letter. This is the second function, either feeling or thinking. So split your students back up. And for this scenario, in groups, present this just quick little scenario to your students. You're the hiring manager at a large corporation. You have one opening. You have two candidates from which to choose. Students must choose one candidate. The only information that they're given is that candidate 1 looks great on paper, has a fantastic resume, killed it at the interview. Candidate 2 could do the job, is adequate, not as amazing as candidate 1. Candidate 2 is a single parent. The important things to talk about here is why they chose the candidate that they chose. We're most interested in the reasons that they give. So don't always assume that feelers are going to go for the single parent or that thinkers will choose the standout applicant. It's the reasons behind their decision that make this exercise interesting and demonstrate the central concepts. You want to reinforce these points with your students. The thinking and feeling function is all about how we make decisions for ourselves. If we were going to boil it down to a word, feeling people go with a value or a motive. Thinking people go with facts and impersonal criteria. And finally, the fourth part of this activity is the final attitude, perceiving or judging. So in groups, students will be planning a trip abroad. Again, you want to leave this as vague as possible, but you can specify that it's maybe about a month, and as long as they're leaving the U.S., any destination. That does not include leaving the U.S., leaving the continental U.S. for Alaska or Hawaii. We want to talk about traveling outside the country. So if they have some trouble getting started, you can ask these questions. Where are they going? What are they going to do there? And what do they need to do before they go? Then as groups again, have them share out. Feel free to pepper in those questions to get some of the details from the previous slide if they're not offering them. The debrief here, the most important concepts that we're going to be emphasizing with our students, that the perceiving judging attitude is all about how you organize and live your life. Please emphasize, judging does not mean they like to judge people. Consistently every year, we have students who come out of this activity who fail to grasp this. Judging does not mean they like to judge people. It focuses on judging as labeling or categorizing. Perceiving people like to experience. Judging people like to plan. Perceiving people need flexibility, where judging people need structure. So if you've allotted 15 minutes for each of the 4 activities, and it will definitely take that long, you should have about 15 minutes left to have students complete the reflective questions in their ACPA packets. Remind students that they'll be taking and reading about the RIASEC before the next class, which is step 2 in the ACPA packet. But other than that, you're pretty golden.